The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Jamie Collins, and Jamie is Executive Director of Girls Inc of Carpinteria. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
So if you would, please, tell us about Girls Inc. and what typically goes on there, or at least did go on in the normal times before the pandemic challenges.
Of course. So our vision is empowered girls in an equitable society. So we really try and acquire that vision through our mission of inspiring girls to be strong, smart, and bold. So typically that would look like an after-school program, outreach programs on school campuses, and a summer-based program and our 5-year college-bound Eureka. With the pandemic, obviously we've had to shift, and I really think for nonprofits it's kind of highlighted the need in the community and the gaps that we fill in the community.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, so we've been really fortunate in being able to continue our programs and in some areas expand them. To really support our families as they went back to work, as our kids were in remote learning, as well as just the socio-emotional health of everybody.
So when you say remote learning, right, so the kids were in remote learning with their schools, and because you're so closely tied with the kids to their schools and all that, that meant you had to go into the same sort of format.
Exactly. So we became the school day. We were open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we were the in-school day program and the after-school program. And our facilitators had to become secondary teachers. And they really stepped into that role just to support the best they could, you know, getting kindergartners on Zoom or middle schoolers engaged in their Zoom learning and keeping their cameras on. And, you know, as adults, it was hard for us to adjust to the Zoom world. So only imagine being a child in that situation.
So now that, well, we're still experiencing some of the challenges of the pandemic, so are you having a hybrid approach now? I mean, do girls come to your facility at all now, or is it only Zoom? How is that?
Yeah, so we did 14 months of adapting every situation. So when the schools were fully remote, they were with us. When they went hybrid, they were with us on certain days. And then when they went back to school in Carpinteria, they went back to school in about May, and we became a traditional after-school program again. So luckily in Carpinteria, at least right now, they're still in school. We pick them up after school, and they're with us until 5:30 at night.
So you pick the girls up at school? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, we have a fleet of 5 vehicles and are able to provide transportation from our local elementary schools directly to our center.
That is wonderful. So I'm sure there's a fee for your services, and I'll bet there are also scholarships for those that can't afford it. Tell us how that works.
Yeah, so we try and keep our fees minimal because we really want to be able to support the greater community. So our fees are $100 per week. However, 77% of our families are on some type of scholarship.
Oh gosh.
So last year alone, we gave over just $100,000 in scholarship, and this year we aim to give slightly higher, about $125,000. Just because we're actually seeing the financial burden of the pandemic hit families now.
Oh.
You know, everybody kind of made it through the first couple months. I shouldn't say everybody, I shouldn't generalize, but a lot of our families kind of made it through. Yeah. But now with the continued reduction in work hours, layoffs, and furloughs, it's really starting to linger.
So Jamie, your services at Girls Inc. Carpinteria are really vital to the families of Carpinteria. I can see that.
Yeah, Carpinteria is unique in that we're very geographically isolated for our small town. So a lot of people think, oh, you're only 20 minutes from Ventura or 20 minutes from Santa Barbara, but there's not a great public transportation system. A lot of our families don't have vehicles. So our community is really unique in that we try and build collaborations around us in order to support all of our families locally.
That is really a good point. So, all right, let's talk about collaborations. I bet you collaborate with a lot of different organizations.
Yeah, we do. I mean, again, we're really fortunate in Carpinteria. We have great organizations. We collaborate with the Carpinteria Art Center to provide art programming for our girls. Carpinteria Children's Project is another one, as their students from the preschool age are a feeder into our program. And then, of course, the Boys and Girls Club, because they're the only other nonprofit in Carpinteria that serve school-age children. So there's only 2 of us to serve the 2,000 kids in the district.
2,000. So like with the art center, do you transport the kids to the art center, or do they come to you, or a little bit of both?
So they typically send their instructors to us.
Oh, okay.
And during the pandemic, they got really creative, and they would have their instructors do YouTube videos, and they would send our girls the supplies while we were in all-day programming. And the girls would be able to watch YouTube videos with dedicated professional instructors and kind of go through the different lessons.
Wow, I guess they really like that.
Yes, yeah. And it was nice because it slowed it down, so they could pause if they were a little bit behind and then rewatch and things.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Gosh, you really have been creative with all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, Carpinteria through the pandemic in general, there was a fund set up called the 93013 Fund through a local Rotary. And they were the backbone. They were the reason we were able to open June 1st. They gave us funding so that we did 100% scholarships for our first week of summer camp.
Gosh.
And just really supported each other through food distribution, school supply distributions, remote learning support. We're very fortunate in our little town.
Yes, and the little town is very fortunate to have you, as are all of the families. That's wonderful. So let's talk a minute about volunteers. So do you accept volunteers? Do you need volunteers?
Of course, yeah. We actually just had some Cape students on our campus this past week for a family night. So we have family nights quarterly in which we engage our families in literacy activities or STEM activities, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. So we always need volunteers in that sense. Of course, board members or committee positions, event support, but rarely there isn't an opportunity that a volunteer will bring to me that I'll say no to.
Yeah, so you really welcome volunteers.
Yes.
And let's say somebody's watching this and they say, well, gosh, I might want to volunteer, or I might want to find out more about the programs because maybe I want my child to go, or I've got a neighbor and she might want her child to go. How would they find out about this?
So they can visit our website, or they can contact me directly. My email is very basic. It's my first name, Jamie, Jamie, at girlsinc-carp.org. And that's really the best way because we want people on our campus. We have a beautiful campus on the foothills that mimics our community. So it was built in 1994 to mimic our farmhouse. So it has a silo in the center, the gym looks like a barn, we have a beautiful courtyard. So we also rent out our facility to the community as a resource.
So for events and things like that?
Yeah, I had my 4-year-old's birthday party there.
Oh,
we have weddings, we have baby showers, it can be all types of things.
And there are outside facilities if somebody wants to not be inside.
Yep, yeah. So this year we're adjusting our annual gala to be all outdoors. We'll more likely than not do our luncheon as well. That's held every spring.
Yeah.
Our Women of Inspiration luncheon that honors local women in the community as well as our scholarship recipients. Because Girls Inc of Carpinteria, we really pride ourselves on encouraging our girls to go to college and giving them the tools that they need to go to college. So we personally invest in scholarships for them, as well as Girls Inc National provides scholarships.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good. And so let's talk again about your website. I'll bet if somebody's, once again, watching this and they would like to give a financial donation, Girls Inc Carpinteria is a 501c3, and you accept donations that are tax deductible for the donor. And so they can go on your website, and I bet you have a Donate Now button there.
We do. We have a donate button, and our website is www.girlsinc-carp.org. And we have a variety of ways to donate. So obviously cash, check, and credit card, but we also accept stock. And then we have an endowment fund that we're really trying to build for the financial stability of the organization.
That is wonderful. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you welcome financial donations, and like you say, gifts of stock and that sort of thing. Gosh, I bet you have quite some stories of how girls' lives have been impacted by your organization.
Well,
maybe you could tell us one.
Yeah, so I'm an alumna myself. I attended Girls Inc. In
Really?
3rd and 4th grade, Girls Inc Carpinteria specifically.
Good for you.
And for me, it was the place that engaged me in sports at a young age. So
sports.
So Carpinteria doesn't have sports leagues unless you play AYSO, which is soccer, or Little League, which is baseball, until you're at the high school level. So one of our focuses this year is our STRONG program. So STRONG is healthy living. So being active, introducing girls to sports, introducing them to nutrition. So we have a gardening program on campus. We introduce them to lacrosse, tennis. They just started golf right now. So really opening their minds and making the programs accessible and affordable for our families. On top of the sports, we're also really focused on STEM, which again is science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have a full-time dedicated STEM instructor who works out of our state-of-the-art STEM lab. So girls get to rotate into that STEM lab once a week. And that ties into our 5-year college-bound Eureka. So I'm getting to my story, I promise you. But our 5-year college-bound program, Eureka, engages girls in 8th grade, 8th through 12th grade. And every year they participate in a summer and year-long program that encourages them to pursue fields of STEM, because women are so underrepresented still today in a STEM field. So my story is about one of our Eureka participants who just graduated from high school this past year, and she was a shy girl when she joined us in 7th grade and really lacked the self-confidence and her full potential. So she was raised by a single father, had a great family support, but didn't feel comfortable talking about reproductive health or her mental health. And she shared with us that Girls Inc gave her that space to really connect and find her voice. And she was one of we had 2 girls that were really leaders in the community with the social justice movement this past year. And she was one of the girls that organized a local protest where we had over 300 people participate in wake of the George Floyd murder. And then she also petitioned the school board to get a ethnic studies course at the high school level. She is now starting her first month of college at Chapman University, and we're just so proud. Chapman.
Oh, Chapman.
Yeah. So we're just so proud to see where she's going to go, and you know, seeing her from a shy young girl to this confident woman who, you know, was in the streets protesting for something that's really important, and based on the lived experience of our girls, is just, it's heartwarming.
That is great. Well, I have been many times to your Women of Inspiration luncheon, and had the privilege of listening to some of these girls, young women really, in the Eureka program, and oh man, inspiring.
Yes, they are change makers for sure.
Yeah. So this girl that you're talking about came in at 7th grade. What age or grade do the girls typically come in at?
So we serve kindergarten through 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
7th grade is when our Eureka program starts. So we offer the Eureka program to every 7th grade person who identifies as a girl in Carpinteria. And they have the chance to apply and be accepted to the program, and it's a 5-year commitment, but it is truly life-changing. We're in our 10th year of the program now. So our first cohort will actually be graduating college this year.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And so when you think about those girls in in all the cohorts, would you say that the great majority of them have graduated or are going to graduate college?
So we're actually doing a survey right now to figure out where people are on their path to graduating college, but I can tell you that 100% of our Eureka graduates did start post-secondary education. So whether they've been able to commit to it, we're still finding out.
So they started it.
They started, yeah.
And at least they got a taste for it and decide if it's for them or not.
Exactly. And we are also shifting our focus that while we push for college bound, we also want to make sure that our girls who want to are career ready. So we had a girl in our most recent cohort who was also looking into getting her real estate license. And so we set her up with a internship at a real estate company, and so start building their passions from there as well.
That is wonderful. So you really tailor that approach to what each girl is interested in.
Exactly, and that's part of the Girls Inc experience, is a pro-girl environment with mentoring relationships where we are able to tailor our programs to meet the unique needs of girls.
Gosh. Well, okay, tell us another story.
Let's see, we have so many. I think, we're celebrating our 50th year this year in
50.
Carpinteria.
Oh my.
I know, I don't look it, but we're 50. So yeah, we started as a one-bedroom house down on Maple Street with just 33 girls in 1971. And we've grown to the organization we are today, serving over 1,100 youth through our on-campus and outreach to schools programs. And I do want to dispel a myth, so we do serve girls and boys.
Oh, okay.
So we serve boys in our healthy sexuality programming at the middle school and high school level. We've been teaching comprehensive sexual education for 25 years in Carpinteria Unified.
Gee.
So we're really seen as leaders and advocates, and really the expert on girls.
That is wonderful. So Jamie, we have about a minute left. Is there anything else you'd like for the listeners to know about Girls Inc of Carpinteria?
Just that we're deeply committed to our community, to being intentional in our programs, and to growing alongside the world. So whatever that looks like, really advocacy is an underlining component of our programs, and really teaching girls and inspiring them to be strong, smart, and bold, because they're our future.
Yeah, that is just so wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the really important work that you're doing in the lives of these girls, these families, and the whole community.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
And thanks for being a guest on our show today.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.